I'm Jim Check. You're watching Kelowna Now. I have with me the city manager, Doug Gilchrist. Long time since you've been in.
It is.
Good to have you here, checking in at the end of the year and then looking forward. And look at the backdrop. You've got the city right below you there. The traffic's flowing.
Beautiful.
Beautiful day.
Snow
the sun
is
is shining on, what's that building? It's the Centurion, isn't it?
It is.
There you go. Look at that, eh? And then this back in there somewhere is the City Hall, I think, too.
It is.
So,
Low rise. Close to the water.
There you go. Another year almost done, right? We're getting close to the end of 2024. Lots of rental housing stuff, right? Including just recently a 40-story rental. And that's going to be the tallest rental housing building.
It is. Yeah. The Mission Group, council approved it on Monday going forward. I think it'll be a great addition to the downtown. Nice product. It'll be directly adjacent to UBC.
Rental homes with a view, right? Like a massive
Absolutely.
view too, right? I guess that begs the question, though. I had the newsroom ask me, how is the UBCO project going? Where's that at? Are they building again? Are they doing it?
They are. Yeah. They're making significant progress on what has been obviously a very challenging site.
Mm-hmm.
There was a demolition of a building across the road, which will make room for some other additional housing development in the proximity to their future campus. They're in the ground stabilizing the site, and we should see that back to surface or come out of the ground next year.
Nice. So, because that new building, the rental building, it's going basically next door, isn't it?
It is.
It's down the street a bit, right?
Yeah, it's in the far north end of their lot to create enough separation between the towers and give a nice podium. So I think that'll be a really complementary addition.
So that's the UBCO Tower Hub. That's about 40 something too. Is it 44?
44.
44. Yeah. Look at that. What memory I have there.
Amazing. You're on it.
44 and 40.
Yeah.
And all kind of like rental housing though too, because UBCO Tower is going to be mostly kind of like
I think the split on the UBC Tower is 8 stories of educational or institutional use. I think they have some other great amenities in there like art gallery and things like that are being contemplated, and then student residence above that.
Nice. And then with all that, I've heard talk that maybe Kelowna meets that 3% vacancy rate soon. All the rentals that we've been seeing coming online.
Yes, I would suggest we'll be in that neighborhood for sure. It's definitely softened on the rental market, which I think is great for
great for people, right?
Affordability and availability, right? When we're trying to attract people here and challenges with labor and so on. So I think we're moving towards a more balanced place and one that we haven't been in for quite some time. So
does that put the city in position to apply for an exemption on the Airbnb rentals?
Well, at the end of the day, that question is still there for the province to decide upon. And, the nuanced pieces of the Airbnb stuff, council has some influence over as well.
Right. So what other things in this past 2024 do you guys think that you did a really good job on? Other than rentals, there's a ton of rental stuff. We did a news story almost a week on that stuff, right?
Yeah, I think on the housing front, we're tracking the $32 million grant that we got from the federal government was a big push. And I think it was a bit of a reward for the efforts that we are and have been doing for many years in trying to promote housing in Kelowna. So that was fantastic. The progress we've made on rentals for sure in the policy front that council has put in place is a good one. I'm really excited about infrastructure. We talked a little bit about what each council is going to be remembered for and what they get to work on. And, the past council was really a policy council. They worked on the OCP, they worked on the Transportation Master Plan, and a bunch of those things came to fruition. And this council is a lot about infrastructure delivery. So the building of roads and multimodal pathways, new buildings, new recreation facilities, which is going to be absolutely significant for us in the next few years.
That's Parkinson Rec and stuff like that. When will we see that completion?
So you'll see Parkinson get in the ground next year. It's a 2 to 3 year build, so it's a significant project. I mean, we got to remember it's triple the size of the existing one. So that's going to be a great amenity right in the heart of the center of our city. But the thing we don't talk about a lot in the public is the other facilities that bundle came with. So, artificial turf fields with lights in Rutland, Glenmore Community Hall, a Mission Community Hall. Really spreading out that investment into the neighborhoods. It's going to be probably, I would say, the most significant bundle of assets that we've ever built at one time.
With those 2 towers downtown, that obviously increases the density in that area there, and it's kind of becoming like almost like a big city downtown, right? With the bigger towers and all that.
Mm-hmm.
How is that like accommodating? The parking was one of the concerns I think some of the councillors brought up. How is like, with Prosper, I don't know, whatever it's called now. Um,
Yes.
how are we
Prosper Place.
accounting? Yeah, Prosper Place. How are we accounting for all the parking downtown there? There's quite a few towers now, right?
Yeah, well, there's quite a few towers, which are intended to accommodate most of their own parking. But we do have city-owned surface lots that could be turned into parkades into the future. We have a fairly healthy parking function that generates some revenue for the inevitability that we could have to build additional parkades. So we're well positioned for that when the time is right and when the council decides that they want to add above ground parking, we can do that. Ideally, it happens in partnership with somebody. I'm a big believer that a lot of this infrastructure should be delivered through partnerships, like we're doing with some others on recreation.
Downtown, UBC now downtown, plus out of the campus out there, north of the city. That's a big transportation corridor now. Is there plans to kind of like increase like mass transit? Gord Lovegrove's Love Train.
Yeah, the Love Train. Yeah, I'd say there's two major efforts going on that front. The first is actually an older plan that we've revived to hopefully get it over the line, ideally get commitments during this council term to build the Clement extension. So from Glenmore Road all the way through to McCurdy, and then ultimately all the way through to the UBC intersection out there.
That would move a lot of traffic
at the Ellison overpass. So that is currently in design. We're getting through the Class D design and moving to the next level, and we hope to get some provincial support for the construction of that road in the near future. And then the second is, of course, the rail corridor. And whether that moves directly to some form of light rail system or there's incremental steps in the meantime, some form of dedicated rapid bus or autonomous bus or something like that, right, I think would be more.
Well, Elon's got a bus. Did you see
likely.
It on his?
We'll pilot one of those happily. It's a largely uninterrupted 20-meter wide corridor that has always been intended to be more than just a trail. So that potential is real.
Yeah. So I guess in and around the city, like taxes is a big thing, right? Because we're paying for all this stuff. Budget's coming up. What are we looking at for taxes? Any ideas yet?
Of course, but unfortunately, I can't announce it here live on KelownaNow. But council will be the first to learn that what our recommended tax rate is on December the 5th. We'll be going to council to have that conversation. But I will say you'll find Kelowna, as we have been for many years, at the very low end of tax increases anywhere in the province, if not the lowest. I think we are very fiscally well managed. I think we take seriously our responsibility of spending other people's money responsibly, and you'll see us at a very low tax rate relative to everyone else.
Yeah, it seems like the downtown is really starting to flesh itself out, right, with all those towers and stuff like that. And there's some hubs in the area. The Pandosy area seems to be doing really well with what's going on there with Mobala and Caban and all that area. It's kind of building itself out really kind of to be kind of like that funky area that's in Vancouver kind of thing. And different areas are really starting to pick up a personality.
I agree. Landmark's not bad too.
Yeah, Landmark's not bad. No slouch here, right? This is kind of our Toronto downtown, right? Yeah. Like it's a beautiful area. They just set it up for a big Christmas fair here. We just had this past weekend.
Fantastic.
And I think the city was here actually. They had a few tents out there and helping.
The mayor does the light up, and the philanthropists have been showing up and offering great donations to our community, which is amazing.
Yeah, I hear there's going to be a big one tomorrow too, but.
Can you announce it here live on KelownaNow?
No, I don't know. Other than that, I know that there's some money coming, and it'll be good stuff, right? So
there's so many great announcements coming. Think of, what we've got in the pipeline for our city in terms of events, with the Canadian Country Music Awards coming.
Right, that's a big deal too, right?
The Briar in 2026 we have
and maybe another announcement tomorrow.
Maybe
we'll where that goes, right? With Mem Cup, right? Because I think they owe us one, don't they?
Well, you could look at it that way. We're very hopeful.
You can make that argument anyway, right?
Yeah, we're very hopeful. I think there was an excellent bid committee that was put together, and our submission was fantastic. So I think we got a really good shot for that, and be excited to see what happens.
It's a beautiful city. If you look out there, it's spectacular, right?
Why not here?
Why not here? Why not here? Right?
Why not? No wine is there.
There is. Tourism suffered though this year for sure. Any plans to kind of like, obviously there's a couple of main concerns of tourism. The Airbnb was one that was brought forward, and also the wildfires and forestry, right? Like that's a big component, right? So, and the city's done some mitigation stuff. Is that increasing, or where's that at?
No, yes, our minds are absolutely on that. And we want to make sure that those businesses, small business in particular, don't continue to suffer, that we can help bolster them where we can. On the wildfire front, working with BC Wildfire Service on things like early detection of wildfires and rapid deployment are active innovations, things we're working on with a private entity right now. On the tourism front, the events, bringing events. The one I didn't mention was BC Summer Games in 2026. Yeah. So those types of things bring a lot of people to our community and continue to build our reputation so that tourism stay high. Our airport, a pillar for bringing in tourist economy, and we're continuing to grow the routes there. Had a bigger and faster recovery than just about any tier 2 airport in the country. We're really proud of that.
Yeah, it's a great, I would say one of the, what is it in the top 10 now, or is it just
we are 10th?
10th, yeah. So top 10, that's pretty good for
10th busiest and fastest recovering post-COVID.
For a city our size, compared to, like, there's a lot of bigger cities than us too, right? So, yeah, I mean, we are a destination too with Big White and all that stuff, and it opened early this year.
It did, a week early.
The snow gods have been friendly.
I haven't been up there yet, though. So.
No, I haven't either.
Get there soon.
Anything else you want to talk about in the year ahead that you think that people can look forward to?
Yeah, well, one of the things that has been really important to our community is getting around the city and talking about congestion. It was a hot topic during the election. Our council has it as one of their priorities, and I think we're making some good progress on that. But the next 2 years, we're going to see some really significant investment in roads and multimodal transportation. We try and create complete streets, not just for vehicles, but for all the other ways people get around, rapid bus and transit and those off-road cycling tracks and things of that nature. But we're going to be doubling the amount of transportation infrastructure we put in the ground annually, and next year will be the first round of delivering on that bundle of roads. One of the key focuses of that is looking at the networks that aren't completed. So if you think of like the Birch Road extension, hasn't been complete. The Clement extension hasn't been completed. The Frost Road connection up off of Lakeshore. All of those network pieces, we're going to close the loop on those, which will give us an opportunity to improve the transit routes and a little bit less congestion on the streets.
There's some talk, I think some of the other party that didn't win talked about a second crossing. Is that something that the city would push for, a second crossing? Or?
I think that the next important step is adding a lane to the bridge, which the study that was done was actually under both governments by the time it got completed, recognized that adding a lane to the bridge is not only important, but it's been designed for that. Adding a fifth lane to the bridge so you can have a counterflow lane, and then shifting the pedestrian corridor to the other side is actually technically feasible, and the bridge was designed to see that happen. So I think that would happen far in advance of another crossing.
The election, I don't want to get too far into that, the election down south, obviously playing a little bit into what's going on and with the tariffs being thrown around here. Mm-hmm. Part of that, though, is that affects us is the fentanyl crisis, opioid crisis, that we see a lot of that in Kelowna here. Is there, this government has even said that it's going to do more about, the repeat offenders and forced treatment and that. Is there something that the city's working on where we can see like an increase in safety and a reduction in crime?
This is, public safety is probably the number one out of council's priority list that we are dedicating time, energy, resources into, and have been, and will continue to, unquestionably. I don't think it's any secret. The mayor and others have talked quite publicly about us being big supporters of mandatory care as one way to help alleviate the challenge on the street and help people get them out of that circumstance that they're in. So I think that's really important to deploy province-wide. And similarly, Redfish Healing Center is a model of care that's more geared towards health-related issues, including mental health. But we think that should be deployed across the province as well. And we've been talking to ministry advocates about about that. So I think both those things are really important to help turn the tide on this issue.
From the outside looking in, it looks like a well-functioning council and city staff working well together. Any complaints there?
No, I'm really excited about the team we have internally. I think we have the strongest leadership team and management team that I've seen in many, many years. We're really proud of what we've built there, and the people that surround me and help make me look good. They're just a really top talent.
Well, you look amazing, so like, hey.
Yeah, it's a nice diversity of age and skills and talent and gender and all that kind of thing that makes for a cool team. And
we do have that draw of the Okanagan, right? Waiting for people to come here. So that is definitely people looking for lifestyle and different things, right? So obviously not the big city, but you get big city amenities and kind of still a small town feel.
Yeah, that's true. And then on the council front, I believe they're making good decisions. They have some healthy debate around the table, and they're getting lots done.
Yeah, so there's
I have no
it's not
complaints.
just like always like everybody votes yes. There is some dissension, at least just in this last one too, right? Which is good to see, right? So that brings diversity of thought there, right?
Yeah, no, I have really no issue with split votes as long as the debate is meaningful and they're making it based on facts and data, and not just opinions from.
One of the things I noticed, I'm a proponent for solar, but I look out like especially if we look to the east of us, like a lot of rooftops, but not a lot of solar panels on top. And the city has quite a few buildings too. Is that something that's going to get worked into, like say Parkinson Rec or something like that?
It
Look at
is.
those flat rooftops?
It is. Any new building the city puts up, we always consider whether or not we can, how far we can go in terms of making that a sustainable building or a net zero project. That is the goal for Parkinson Rec Center, which is right now is our largest energy consumer of all of our buildings.
Oh wow!
So it'll be a real shift to a net zero building if we can get there. Some things are quite viable in terms of cost, and others are a little more expensive. But we're positioning this building to be really highly sustainable.
And then, of course, the EV push that's been out there, and BC is one of the leaders in that. The charging infrastructure, which worries a lot of people. One of the good things is Tesla's opened up its superchargers to most cars now. I think most things can do that. Is there a plan to kind of build that out more, or you're letting private enterprise build that out more? So
no, a bit of both. We have a full EV strategy that includes our corporate fleet. So if you see city vehicles running around out there, a lot of them you'll see now are electric.
Yeah. You got your Cybertruck on order then, or what?
I do not have a Cybertruck. I don't have a company car. I've got my own. My wife drives a Tesla though, so we are EV family. But we do put in some EV charging infrastructure in and around city-owned facilities, city parking lots, and things like that. So we do invest some. We're hopeful that can be a private sector development.
Yeah, because there seems to be like Tesla does a really good job of it, and now opening up their network to the other ones, you would think that more and more people would. I don't know. They're easier to run. Like I think they've set up a model that's obviously if you have a Tesla in your family, you know how easy it is to go there and plug in. Versus one of those other ones where you put the credit card in, you got to do all those things, and it takes a while, right? And it leads to the frustration. Sometimes they don't work and all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a change, right? People just have to get accustomed to it. But I think there's a real upside to that movement, and the city as a good corporate citizen is part of that movement. Yeah,
you got Chris Ray there working there.
Chris is fantastic.
Former Kelowna Rocket too.
He is.
Is he going to make the announcement then, or what?
No.
You're going to call him up from the miners there and say, hey, come on up, you can make this announcement.
Hey, maybe he'll be there if we have an announcement.
It'd be great to have an announcement. Anything else you want to share with us today?
No, I really enjoyed it. Thank you for getting the voice out there and being an important piece of the conversation here in Kelowna.
We got to get back to our every couple months, right?
I'd love to.
Yeah, that'd be great. And thank you for coming in today, and thank you for watching Kelowna Now.
Thanks very much.
We don't just report the news. We live here too. We're your neighbors, bringing you stories that matter to all of us. No government funding, no outside influence. Kelowna Now, local, independent. News